The hanging leg raise and all its variants and progressions is an exercise whose benefits deliver a plethora of spillover upsides to bodyweight training and calisthenic skills. And if you're looking to build a strong core, the hanging leg raise should be a cornerstone movement for you. But many that perform this exercise gripe that they either cannot feel their abs when doing it, or have to go to extreme lengths to feel tension in the abs. So today we're going to go through why this may be the case and go through how you can ensure that you're getting the most out of the hanging leg raise. Let's get it. How you doing, Cali Crowd? Welcome back to the channel that makes calisthenics simple. If you're looking to understand how to best engage the abs as part of the hanging leg raise, then the next few minutes will be an absolute game changer for you. So let's jump into the first reason why you might not be feeling this exercise in your abdominals, which is to do with shoulder positioning. I get frustrated that so many tutorials recommend the active hang for leg raise exercises because when we move from a passive to an active hang, the lats become far more involved than they should be. Amongst other muscles, we're looking to engage the rectus abdominis as part of the hanging leg raise. And the role of the rectus abdominis is to anteriorly flex the trunk, so bend forward. But from this active hang position, we can see that the spine is actually doing the opposite. It's extended, not flexed. In that active hang, our abs are not in the best position to generate force, but we're still challenging our body to lift our legs. So what do they do to navigate around this scenario? Well, they either recruit a different set of muscles that can also lift the legs, namely the hip flexors, or worse, the already engaged lats fully take over now, and you end up leaning back into the semi-tuck front lever raise. It's for this same reason why in the lying leg raise, we seek to eliminate the gap under our back, so that we can actually work our abs properly in this movement. If you find that areas of your hips are getting fatigued before your midsection does, then this is likely the problem. And we can fix all of this by going back into a passive hang. Here, we are well positioned to raise the legs up in a way that actually recruits the abs as the primary drivers. The second reason for why you're not feeling hanging leg raises in your abs is very similar to the train of thought that we followed for the first reason, but it's to do with the fact that you have poor shoulder flexion mobility. If you struggle to get your hands over your head without your back arching and your spine going into the extension that we mentioned earlier, then you will experience the same issue when you get onto a bar. Intentionally focusing on the passive hang that we spoke of earlier will still help, as your own body weight will aid you in opening up your shoulders more when you're up on the bar. But your leg raises will yield far better results if you intentionally focus on improving your shoulder flexion mobility. I have a full video on how you can do this, link will be down in the description below. The third reason for why you don't feel that this exercise is benefiting your abs is that you actually don't know what tension in the abs should feel like. Many of us progress to hanging leg raises from the lying leg raise, which is actually a significant jump in level. Because of this, we might not know how to create tension in the right muscles now that we've moved from horizontal to a vertical position. The best technique to understand how to create tension in any muscle is through isometrics. And I have two exercises that you can start doing as progressions before we start working towards hanging leg raises. The first is the hanging hollow body, and the second is the knees to chest hold. These two positions represent the polar ends of the hanging leg raise. This is where you should start, and here is where you should finish. And by holding these as static holds, we will get a better understanding of how to create that tension when we start to introduce movement between these 2 points. While holding these isometrics, really pay attention to how our breathing affects the tension in our abs while holding these isometrics as well. You will likely find that upon breathing out, we can get a deeper contraction in our abs, and we should look for that in our hanging leg raises as well. Coupled to this, we need to be controlled and deliberate with the movement in our hanging leg raise. Many people that cannot get their legs high will look to momentum to complete their hanging leg raise reps, but that is chasing quantity over quality. For example, a pull-up performed in a slow, controlled way will always build more muscle and strength in the back than those performed where anything and everything is done just to get your chin over the bar. The same logic applies for hanging leg raises, and we should slow down our reps to make sure that we are actively engaging our abs, even if it means doing fewer or even partial reps until we're ready to do the full range of motion. And you'll likely find that this is a really good fix for another problem of hanging leg raises, which is swinging. Slowing down your reps will help with that unintentional swinging that comes with uncontrolled reps. Over-recruitment of other muscles can be another reason for why our hanging leg raises are not being as effective as they should be. We briefly mentioned that our hip flexors can find themselves overly involved in their hanging leg raises when we don't really want them to be. And one way to decrease their involvement is to stretch them beforehand. Static stretching of a muscle has the short-term effect of decreasing its ability to produce force. In this regard, we can stretch the muscles we don't want to focus on in a compound movement just before moving on to that exercise. But we can also go one further and get the hip flexors to do a different job altogether. For many of the group of muscles we call hip flexors, they actually do another job as well as flexing the hip, which is adducting the legs, so bringing them together. By using the cue of squeezing our knees together in the hanging leg raise, we can essentially distract them from the job of hip flexion, so that we can leave that to the core muscles in the hanging leg raise. Try placing a thin book or a small cushion between your knees and you'll be surprised how much more you will feel this exercise in your core. Crowd, these are the common reasons for why people do not feel the hanging leg raise in their abs. Put these tips to use and let me know down in the comment section if you find them valuable. Let me know if you're having any other problems with your hanging leg raises as well. Let me know down in the comments. And crowd, I'll see you in the next one.